Here we go. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to Phil's Recap and Review. This is going to be for The Sopranos, Season 2, Episode 12. Episode 12, The Night in the White Satin Armor. And I'm here tonight, not alone, with Big Daddy Matt to talk about this episode of The Sopranos. And if you haven't done one of these before, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be watching the episode live and talking all over it. So if you've never watched The Sopranos, this is not the best way to first watch this episode. Also want to send a very special happy birthday out to Phyllis, our one fan. We got one fan. It's Phyllis, and happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, Phyllis.
And to we're not alone. During this podcast live stream commentary thing, we'll have a few people popping in and out of the live motherfucking chat. And that is, we got Johnny in the chat, and we got Dwarf Burger Swamp Beard, which is our good friend Devin, if you couldn't figure that out, Matt.
I was
with a name.
It makes a lot of sense now. Yeah.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't have told you and see how long you could go wondering who.
Oh, he'd start being he'd start like busting my balls at some point. And I'd figure it out.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
But to Johnny, who's in the live chat, says, "I love you, Phil, but The Sopranos, it's so long ago." It's true, but it's my fault. It's not Matt. Don't get any transitional anger onto Matt. It's because I'm not doing more podcasting of normal shows, and like Matt and I aren't under any impression. We're two nobodies. No one wants to really hear two guys talk about The Sopranos 30 years later, however long it's been since the series ended, 20, 30 years. So we understand that it's so long ago. I will be back after the first of the year talking about some more newer shows. We got Cobra Kai coming at the very beginning of the year. I'm going to be talking about that. Also, I do want to make mention and talk a little bit about Mandalorian Season 2 and leading into Season 3. And Joe and I will be back talking about the final season of The Walking Dead and Better Call Saul. And I will also be talking about the new final seasons of Vikings. So that's some new stuff coming up soon. And we got Justin in the live chat that says, "I've rediscovered The Sopranos during the pandemic." Sopranos is good for rewatches. It's weird right now. I feel like in the last few months, without getting into too personal stuff, going through change and like moving my living location, it's in everything going on. It's harder for me to go out and watch new stuff, Matt. We were talking a little bit about this before. I'm going back and rewatching a lot of my favorite shows again. Not just The Sopranos. I'm rewatching The Wire. I rewatched a couple of other shows I'm afraid to admit.
I'm rewatching The Americans right now.
Matt's rewatching The Americans. I know a lot of people are, instead of going out to watch too many new things, I'm kind of going back and watching a lot of my old favorite shows. Yeah.
What is great about some of the shows right now, though, is that there's a lot of, it's not great for any of the people involved with them, but there's a lot of 2-season shows and that's it. And they get cut off at that. There's a lot more of those than there ever were before that are really great shows.
Yeah.
Like Amazon loves to cut people off after 2 years. So,
and Netflix does as well. And Justin says, Top Shelf Fandom says, actually the numbers have skyrocketed during the pandemic, 3 million viewers. They were talking about that on the most recent episode of the Talking Sopranos podcast, a show you should be watching instead of Matt and I talking about the Sopranos, the actual show. They had David Chase on this last week. And Michael Imperioli.
Isn't he coming on? He's coming on here next week.
He is. We have David Chase next week. We have Edie Falco the first of like right after the first of the year, and it's gonna be awkward because I'm gonna flirt with her a lot, Matt.
Yeah.
You're gonna feel a little awkward about this. You know, we figured we'd let David Chase do that podcast first. He's gonna come to our show for the promotion standpoint. But they were talking about how The Sopranos is getting almost all-time viewing numbers right now during the pandemic. It's giving a lot of people a lot of opportunity, as Justin was kind of hinting at in the chat, to get into the show. And it's interesting because I think it's old enough that it has some classic appeal where something like Breaking Bad, for instance, if we're getting into that debate, again, I don't want to get into that debate today, but if we're getting into the fact where Breaking Bad's still a little more modern in a sense, because Better Call Saul's still on, and Gus is on Mandalorian, well, like so much of that show's still a part of the zeitgeist, so to speak, where The Sopranos is...
And that show came out, and the movie came out last year.
Right, exactly.
Jesse Pinkman movie.
Jesse Pinkman, El Camino.
Yeah.
So we're in sort of more of a modern age with Breaking Bad, where The Sopranos really is, if not the first thing or the first or second thing of this generation of television we're in, but still so connected to the 80s, 90s television. You can still feel so much of that influence that those shows have on it.
And
And
you can watch it breaking it over those 6 seasons.
absolutely. Oh, we've got the Bird Lady in the live motherfucking chat. Comfort series Sons of Anarchy has been my go-to. Hey, great to see you. I actually just rewatched a lot of Sons of Anarchy. That was another show that I started to rewatch. Vikings as well in preparation for the new season. I've been kind of bouncing around between all of them. With Sons, I watched the first 4 seasons, and then after 4, I'm having a little trouble continuing past that point. But especially those first couple of years, dealing with the whole foundation, some of the stuff with Opie and not our Opie, the television Opie, with Hellboy there, with Ron Perlman. Anybody know if Ron Perlman and Rhea Perlman are actually related in any way, shape, or form? Someone in the live chat, do that math for me. I'm curious. They look a lot alike. They look a lot alike. A well-written show stands the test of time. Garbage gets smelly quick, as Dwarf Burger says. And it's true. And I think that's why so many sitcoms of the ages of the 80s that we grew up in, Matt, you can't really watch right now. You can't go back, at least I can't go back and watch Growing Pains or Family Ties or any of those shows. The only shows of those eras of those kind of shows that hold up to me are, well, forgetting the obvious. The Cosby Show holds up, especially the first 3 years of it. I would say beyond the obvious, I'm saying it's like a show put together because they have some of that ageless jazz music stuff mixed in there. And I think Cheers holds up. But I think other than those two from the sitcoms of the age, a lot of those shows they don't hold water as much these days. You can't watch Growing Pains now and think it's a good show in the sense you can watch select episodes of The Cosby Show and still go, oh, this is a good sitcom. You know, in the same way, or Cheers, you can watch it and you can kind of say good things about it. I think you can say a lot about those hour-long dramas as we're leading into The Sopranos here, where Quantum Leap or Hill Street Blues are good shows, but if you put them, and I love those shows, especially Quantum Leap, I'm like huge Quantum Leap fan, but if you watch it with modern eyes, they have to keep redoing the show every time. Holy shit! The Bird Lady gives us a $24.99 super chat donation. You are amazing. Love you. Phil, sorry I can't stay, about to have dinner with the hubby, but that is an amazing super chat donation. I can't reach the wheel, so I'm going to just say drink for you, and I'm going to pour myself a little shot of vodka, and thank you so much, Bird Lady. More than ever right now, with everything going on in my current work situation, super chats and any donations like that mean an extra amount to us. And Matt and I doing a Sopranos podcast where we have no illusions that anyone actually wants to listen to this.
And we haven't even started The Sopranos yet.
So
We're just
I think they'd rather
talking about Quantum Leap.
Yeah, I think most people would probably rather hear us talk about this than talk about the Sopranos episode, but we'll get into it.
It's fair.
Here we go. Tao. I love you. I love you as well. Or, hey, I'm so glad you're doing this. Rewatching The Sopranos is keeping me grounded during quarantine. 100%. And Bird Lady, I love you. Thank you so much. Toast to you. And Tao. It's one of those shows, and that's kind of what we were talking about leading into this before we start this episode. The Sopranos is on a long list of shows, whether we're talking about best shows or worst shows or whatever. I would put The Sopranos on a short list of comfort food shows. There's just something about it, something about these characters, Matt, and especially this age of the series where they really, I don't know, there's a comfort in watching The Sopranos, which is fucked up because these are such horrible people.
Yeah, it's also one of the first shows, and they talk. David Chase always talks about this, where you have the anti-hero that is now common in every show.
Yeah,
you know, where you're. Yeah. The other things about it kind of being the perfect time while it still works now is there's not a lot of special effects in it because those look dated. You talked about Quantum Leap. Now, granted, this is 15 years newer than Quantum Leap, but like those. It looks terrible, the special effects do.
Yeah, it does.
Besides some of the dream sequences, you don't really see a lot of that in The Sopranos.
I mean, I think that's part of the reason, not meaning to interrupt you, but part of the reason why Star Trek The Next Generation and some of the Star Trek of the 90s holds up so well, because for whatever reason, those special effects, it doesn't look like when we were kids watching the old Star Trek. It actually looks better than a lot of modern special effects that you'll see because less of it was done with CG. And that's the other thing, like, when you're using computer-generated stuff, when you use it in those early ages, those things age more than when they were using the end level of practical effects because CG has gone so far at this point. You know, you see it at this age. You see something like, it's not a great movie, but you see something like the new Lion King that they released, where it's all these lifelike, like they look like you would have thought it was a nature show, and it's all like computer-generated lions and shit. You know, so it's amazing what you can do. It's a long way to go from Jar Jar to where we are now, and what those
Right.
and that's why those prequel movies. And I know we're not going to use this opportunity to bash the prequels, but they aged really poorly because the CG at the time was very cutting edge, and what we get to now is, it doesn't look cutting edge, even though it was. That's why Nintendo 64 games look a whole lot shittier than.
If anyone here remembers Nintendo 64 coming out, those graphics were absolutely mind-blowing at the time when they came out.
Oh, and thank you, Devin. I'm kind of blanket terming in it, but yes, they used models, not CG. That's because they did that. The serialized, newer series, long-form story, absolutely. Oh, we got the LT in the live motherfucking chat. But yes, PlayStation 1, Nintendo 64, that era of video game graphics aged so poorly compared to 8-bit or 16-bit Genesis and Nintendo graphics. They hold up better in this age now because we're using an enhanced version of what the Nintendo 64 was, where you're looking at a completely different thing. And I think that's the same thing with movies. And to your point, that's part of the reason why The Sopranos holds up, because it focused on things that matter throughout history. And it's why you can watch movies from the 70s, 60s, 50s, whenever they were, if you worry about character and you worry about a good, tight story within each episode. And that's what The Sopranos gets right.
And another thing that they're very lucky for, where kids are rewatching this that are in their 20s now. Sorry, if you're in your 20s, I don't mean to call you a kid, but they do have cell phones in The Sopranos.
They do at the end, towards the end of it, they do. Or they have both.
No, they still do in the beginning. They have burner phones they use throughout the whole thing. Even like Pine Barrens, they're calling each other on the phones the entire time. They have burner phones at all different points throughout it.
And that's okay, Matt. You can call them kids. They can call us boomers if they want.
Yeah.
We're boomers.
But the thing is, like so many shows, kids that are people in their 20s now literally don't know what life is like without cell phones, and not understand how stuff like, when you even go watch old Seinfeld episodes, how many problems Seinfeld ran into were just because they didn't have cell phones yet. Like if they had those, it ruins half of the plots. Like The Sopranos still sort of works because the advent of the cell phone is part of it still. It doesn't ruin it because they're in there.
And honestly, that's one of the things at the age that the Pine Barrens episode came out, at the beginning of cell phone usage, when you couldn't really hear anybody when you were trying to connect with people, and having that be part of that episode when Tony's like, he can't get in on the cell phone, he's getting all the static. You could almost relate to that because that was the age of cell phones that we were living in and such. Okay, everyone. If you want to watch the episode with us, now is the time to sync it up. The episode, again, is Season 2, Episode 12, Night in the White Satin Armor. What we're going to do is we're going to go 1, 2, 3, then push play. We do it after.
No, let's go backwards. 3, 2, 1, go. And we're going to go with the go.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, go. Excellent. I like how you're putting
reductionist. We're going backwards.
Yeah, I like it. Thank you for the math here. So if anyone wants to watch this with us, we will be talking over it, and we will be making references about what's going on. So you do not need to watch along with us. The show is almost just background noise. We're doing it as sort of a babbly as something to talk about, as a recap built in there. So we will give enough context. This is a big episode for The Sopranos. One of the more surprising episodes when I was watching it for the first time. And also, spoilers away. If you've never watched The Sopranos, we're going to be spoiling things that happened before and after. Here's the first one. Janice kills Richie in this episode. Huge. No one expected that to happen. Even the way the episode leads up, it leads up to think this is going to be a very different outcome. And potentially, this was supposed to be Aida Totoro's last episode of The Sopranos. She and I'm giving people a little time in case they want to watch along. If the actress Nancy Marchand that played Olivia did not die, they probably would have brought her back eventually. But the actress said this on the podcast that when she was leaving at this point in the episode, as far as she knew, this was her last appearance on The Sopranos. And as Justin said in the chat, emotion, and I would add character, is evergreen. So here we go.
I want to do one thing before we start.
Please.
Phil, I have a hot take on this episode. I hate this episode.
Really?
I don't care how big of a deal it is, it's a huge moment in the show. Rewatching it,
Interesting, Matt, because I really like this episode. I think it's interesting because it shows how much Tony really has on his plate. Fun, because we don't often have situations like this where we disagree. Usually it's us ball licking and labia loving the Sopranos, and it's a bit too much. So I don't hate away on the show. I think part of the reason why you probably hate this episode, and I'm guessing, is because of how much you hate the Pussy and Skip storyline.
Well, listen, it's the writing is awful for that in this. he gets really he's turned into the whole like thinks he's in the FBI part. And that's some of the worst 15 minutes of The Sopranos in my life is like the stuff that's spent on them. It's really painful. I understand why of all the people he chose to write off the show, it's Pussy. He can't act. Why they put him up with Skip and the other line, like all the writing for them is terrible. But in addition to that, I just don't think that the actions that play out in this episode really have it's really been built up to those moments.
So as to use a Ryan Johnson term, are you saying they subverted your expectations in this episode where everything that we build up for the Richie situation, you don't necessarily enjoy that this ended up being the conclusion?
No, that's not it. I think his ending comes too quickly from that direction.
Okay.
Interesting. I think that him selling out, I think the whole Junior Tony thing in this is too quick the way that turns. I think a lot of stuff just happens. I just don't see how they go from having. We'll get there.
No, we'll get there. No,
I don't want to ruin the whole thing.
No. I like this. These are things to think about as we're getting into this episode. Okay, so here we go. Everybody, you ready, Matt?
I'm ready. Oh, whoa, on go. We're not going on one. 3, 2, 1, go.
3, 2, 1, go. 3, 2, 1, go. I think we're cool. Yeah, okay, here we go. I don't know if you get.
I think we're almost perfectly synced.
Yeah, I think so. I hear this. I think I feel the synergy.
I'm gonna turn mine down a little bit. Yep.
Okay, I'm not skipping my intro. So
no, we can't.
No, we're not allowed. That would mess everything up. We're not skipping.
Yeah, if anyone's, it's also weird that right there you still have the Twin Towers in the beginning of this.
It is weird, and there's he got caught smoking. Someone got caught smoking weed by Chase. Oh, interesting. Oh, Pussy did. There is that rumor. I have heard that rumor. They talked about that in the podcast that he got. They said. Rumor has that wasn't the case. Rumor has it was more that Dave Chase went to him and said he had a great idea for a storyline for Pussy and said he's going to write him off the show. I don't necessarily think Vinny Pastore is as bad of an actor as you think. I think Skip is. I agree. I don't think Pussy is. I think he's just very...
Did you watch this episode recently?
Oh, I did. Yes, twice. I've actually seen this episode. I watched it last week because we were going to go do it and again this week.
I'd rather watch like one of the like last trilogy of Star Wars movies than sit through this.
Oh, we know how much you love those. In fact, I told Matt to watch the movie Knives Out, and then I explained that it was Ryan Johnson movie, and he immediately said, I won't watch that movie. But it's a really good movie, Matt. Even people that hate the new trilogy will say Knives Out's a good movie.
All right. It's on the list of other shit I'll never get to.
Okay, so here we go. But I actually, Matt, again, we'll get into this as we're going through, but I don't hate this episode as much as you do.
I didn't until I rewatched it like 3 times in the last 2 months.
So I think it's from beginning to end. I enjoy the dynamic between Tony and Janice in this scene leading up. This whole beginning intro part. I don't know.
I love this because this is where they were one of the first shows that had to deal with HD television and make these big, beautiful shots that like had to work in HD that no one before them in the 80s and 90s had to deal with. But this is a shot that was made, this was made to be on an HD TV.
Do you wish in retrospect that they made the character of Barbara more a part of the show? To see a dynamic between all 3 Sopranos family members, the kids?
Yes, because I try to even remember when she comes in. I know she comes in when Tony's in the coma.
She comes in several episodes for
one-offs. Mom, obviously.
And she's almost played by a different actress every time, I want to say.
See, that's what I don't know, but that's why she's so forgettable. I don't remember if it's the same actress or not.
It's weird that she's the one that's the least fucked up by Livia. I don't necessarily understand. Here we got the biggest douchebag in all of the world, Jackie Jr., who's sitting here. And this is our sort of preview for where Jackie Jr. is going to go next season. It's interesting. I don't like all the Jackie. This is one of those things I agree with you, Matt. I don't like the Jackie Jr. stuff in this episode, how he's with Richie on all this stuff. And then it's such a big deal next season when he's in the Mafia. It's almost like this stuff never happened. I mean, he's with Richie at all these meetings. He's in that meeting with Junior. Like, wouldn't he be flapping his gums a little bit?
Right. Especially since he's best friends with Tony after this. That's...
Exactly. And I like that too. I maybe part of the reason why I like this episode so much, Matt, is I really enjoy the dynamic between... They cast Tony's sister really well. and she's good in this.
Janice, you mean?
Yeah, Janice is Ieto Totoro is very good in this episode.
Yeah. She's one of the best actresses in the show, hands down.
Yeah. I mean, they had an embarrassment of riches with actors here, but I think the bests are her, Milfy, Tony, and Carmela.
No, you just keep going. And Junior. And Christopher.
And Junior and Christopher. This is
and Paulie, but that's a different...
Yeah, Paulie's a different thing. So
like Johnny Sack is great. Like those guys are all great.
Hey, we got Jay from SM down in the live chat. Yeah, top shelf. I love that part too. When we'll get to that. Hey, Brian Dodd. So am I, Brian.
You also really see what a manipulative. Oh, I hate this shit too. She's a terrible actress.
The Tony beer hug sex here.
Okay, the single worst thing of acting wise that they should have just fixed in the show. She's gonna throw something at him. Just watch how terrible it is. It's almost as bad as Skip and what's his name.
Did you think of the? So why do you think Tony decides to end this here? Just because she's annoying? You think he's just done with her? Because he starts getting on her for not knowing what to do with her life. It's really weird coming from Tony that he's getting upset about her. It's almost like he transfers all this shit onto her, like that he's upset with himself.
Yeah, and Carmela's also onto him again, though. I mean, he has to at some point. He's got to deal with that. Is he going to stay with his wife or not?
Yeah, I mean, this is... Yeah, I guess at this point he's already promised Carmela he's done with this one, and I think that's probably his strategy when he gets caught.
Another thing is, too, he can... now that he can just go... he can get laid whenever he wants. If it's about sex, he can do that anytime he wants.
Did you know
this is an actual relationship he has with her?
It's one of those the Gumar is different than a one-timer sort of situation. And he even says it to Milfy later. Do you realize how many girls I've had? Why do I keep doing this?
Yeah, he did with that creepy one at Barone Sanitation, the little one.
Yeah,
was that last episode or two episodes ago? The little blonde one?
The blonde girl, yeah. And and I didn't realize she mentions this at some point in this episode. I didn't realize she was a Bing girl. He met her at the Bing. She was a dancer at the Bing.
That's top shelf. That's one of the funniest lines in the whole show.
Who do you think I am?
No, the other one where he's like, I had her tested. Oh yeah, right. I had her tested for AIDS. Like that's.
Is that in this episode? Is that when?
That already happened. I think that's before this, leading up to this.
It might have been. It might be when Carmela. It might be in a later episode when Carmela. Oh no, you're right. It's in the episode where Carmela asks him to get a vasectomy.
Right, and we saw that one together.
Yeah, right? that was one of these newer episodes. One of the last 3 episodes. So I think she seems like a extra bad actress because I think the next Gumar is such a good actress. As we're leading it.
Who are you talking about?
Gloria. Yeah, I think she's another one. If we're talking about great she might be one of the best guest actors to ever come on for like a short burb. I know Buscemi rules, but people can argue whether Buscemi works on the show. But
I don't think he does, but that's different.
That's different. We'll get to that. But I think Irina, in retrospect, looking back on it, when you see how awesome what's her name is, because I think the best acting this girl does is in the episode in season 4 when Tony beats the shit out of the congressman for
right here. That's the worst throw I've ever seen in my life.
She probably didn't.
And then she just falls down like that.
She probably didn't even do that. She probably had a production assistant. So here we go in a meeting, and the gist of this meeting is that Tony screws over both Richie and Larry Boy over this trash bid.
Is that Larry Boy there? How do we even know him?
No,
how are we supposed to know him?
That's Larry Boy's brother, I believe, or son.
Alfred? Is that Alfred?
Who's Alfred?
Yeah, or Albert. Albert. One of those.
We met Larry Boy in season 1. He's one of the guys that got arrested in Tony's sting. Right.
And there's a picture of him on the wall. He comes back later, right? Yeah. He's in the show throughout the series.
Yes. I believe he gets released in season 4. It might be season 3. It's been a while.
Now, it is interesting. You wonder how much does Jackie Jr. feel is entitled to him as like heir to his dad.
That's what I mean. Jackie Jr.'s here, and Tony deals with him right here. He doesn't shit talk him like Jr. does. He actually answers him. Those who want respect get respect, and that's a big line for The Sopranos.
You see what he told you?
I don't know, Matt. I hear what you're saying, but I think the Richie stuff is so interesting to me and so fun because I think he ultimately is the best adversary for Tony. I just feel like they could have stretched it out. I agree. They could have stretched it out longer. It seems like it should have had a bigger point. Even if that ultimately was the conclusion where Janice did that, I feel like they could have pushed him a little further along.
Well, they never found a better adversary for him.
No, Ralphie didn't work in the same way. Ralphie was completely different.
Ralphie was a different thing. Ralphie, yeah, right. That was different.
And Phil,
Ralphie was great. Ralphie was incredible. He was incredible, but it's not. There's not the fear that Richie puts in you. Like Richie could have taken down Tony. Ralphie wasn't going to take down Tony.
Never.
Certainly not by himself.
You never felt that way. Whereas with Richie, you weren't sure. And hey, Peter Griffin, great to see you in the chat. And
not only that, like Tony didn't know. Tony was never scared of Ralphie. Tony was legitimately concerned about Richie.
Yeah, because Richie's old school. And if Richie was at all like
I'm old school, Janice.
And if Richie was at all likable, it might have been a problem. It's funny, Tony always had problems with any of the old men. Like the old men that were dealing with like old times. He had a problem with Feach, he had a problem with Richie, he had a problem with all these people that he had this sort of idolization as a kid growing up when he was reintroduced to them.
He has the issue at the end, even though he's not reintroduced to him, but even with Hesh at the end.
Yeah, totally. And to catch up here, Junior goes to his lawyer, and his lawyer who's jacking up the bill a little bit, I think.
Yep.
Says it can be up to $400,000. So Junior's trying to sell coconut on the roof.
He wants to bring in like experts to come in and talk about like stuff on wiretaps.
Yeah. And so Richie is saying he didn't get the bid, and Tony's screwing them all over. So Junior,
and he's telling him he can't sell the coke anymore, and that was sort of Junior's lifeline, I guess.
So Junior is giving Richie an opportunity here by going to Albert and seeing if he can turn Albert.
No, that's not yet. He's not sending him to Albert.
No, that's where he's going right now.
No, that's later.
No, he just told him to go see Albert, and that was, we were talking over it, but that's the scene he tells him to go see Albert.
Okay. I thought that was when Janice was at the house, and maybe that was last episode when Janice was with him.
Yep.
All right.
And
God.
and Junior at this point is seeing what his options are ultimately.
So, just so you know what we're looking at here, because it's pretty awful.
Let's let Matt talk about this scene. This is Matt's favorite scene.
Big Pussy shows up with a bottle of some sort of nice liqueur for Skip. And Skip just starts saying, I can't take it if it's stolen. I'll give it to someone. I don't know. He says he's going to donate it or something like that. And this is when the first time, this is the weirdest subplot to this entire thing, is that Pussy is now talking about becoming like an FBI agent. That's what he wants to do, is become an FBI agent.
Right. Or to Justin will know what I'm talking about. He's almost talking about becoming like a Michael Francis, where he's like, I'll go speak at police stations, speak about cop.
Yeah.
I'll go on the speaking circuit. I'll start a YouTube channel eventually and just talk to everyone about organized crime. I'll be the face of organized crime in the country. Will be this puss right here.
He's like, when this assignment's over, and Skip's like, assignment? What do you mean? And it's like, it just comes out of nowhere. He's like. He's killing Matthew Bevilacqua two episodes
yeah,
ago.
And he says, thanks for looking the other way on that Bevilacqua hit. It's like, come on, dude. Are you really this dumb? I think Vinny's a better actor than you give him credit for. I just think he's extra bad in scenes with this guy. I think if you look at the scene that he dies in the next episode, I think he acts really well in that scene. I think when he's
but he's about to go visit Christopher, and he's terrible when he goes and visits Christopher. But he's wearing a wire now.
Yeah, but he's supposed to be. He's doing the Vincent Chase from Entourage thing where he's acting like he's acting. It's tough to do that.
It is. It's pretty awful when people do it.
Like, I am acting right now. It's tough. Fuck that.
That's the best line he has there.
I've just seen him in things where he's been good. I think for him it depends on, he's got the Hayden Christensen thing or the Natalie Portman thing where they need a good director to get good performances, and if they don't, then they're shit.
They need good writing because this is terrible. Oh, here we go. This is where Tony gets.
Oh, it gets busted here. Yeah, Carmela.
Now Tony has claimed he broke it off already. That's the whole thing, and he kind of goes there to bang her and say goodbye.
I think I don't want to root for the philanderer here in this situation here, but in fairness, he works in a fucking strip club. You're telling me that couldn't be stripper?
So you ready in line with all the arrangements?
Not all over him like that. No, he shouldn't be.
Then he's stupid. If he's been trying to do it, then he shouldn't. He should burn the clothes that he wears when he comes back in. Like, it's almost like Tony wants to get caught. And speaking of weird transitions into talking about beautiful people, we've got Adriana in this scene making an appearance, who isn't quite a full-time character. I like this scene.
Next to Janice, where Tony at one point said to Richie, "My sister, that's what you're thinking about? There's guys in the can look better than my sister."
This scene with Pussy I love too, is he's trying to get Tony to talk about things. This line that he gets up right here when he turns to Tony, you actually, right there, this line I like. He was always a disturbed kid. There's something just about that delivery. And it's interesting to say this, Matt, because we can look back at this in a time capsule and pick apart the actors that were great on the show versus the ones that were character types. Silvio, I'm talking to you. And that they kind of just put into place. But at the time that this was airing and the first 2 seasons of The Sopranos, who was the most popular character? Pussy was. Because people wanted to say Pussy. Everyone talked about Pussy. Where's Pussy? Especially between season 1 and season 2.
Big Pussy.
Big Pussy, not Little Pussy. People were making My Pussy.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it was the name, Matt, or something.
And even the last name. What's the Pussy Bompancero? I'm going to say it wrong.
Yeah, because I just remember listening to like Dennis and Callahan or The Big O or all those shows. Every morning radio shows would just be talking about Big Pussy. I think maybe it was just so that they could say pussy.
Right.
And this is fucked up too. This speech that Richie gives here, considering everything's going on, knowing he wants to kill Tony, the way he gives this speech like aw shucksy and stuff.
Yeah, but he does it. You know why? He's old school.
He's
Janice.
old school Janice. Justin says I'm hot compared to Janice. Technically Richie selling coke on those routes with Junior's okay would be sanctioned. Probably, but Tony is a weird kind of boss where it's his agenda or nothing. And if you don't work towards that thing, and that's why he's a hypocrite. Someone said this before, it's 92 episodes of Tony being a hypocrite.
Okay, I'm going to disagree with both of you for the following reason.
Do it.
One of the things Tony really, really focuses on, and he starts doing it at the beginning of this, is having his money in as many legitimate businesses as he possibly can. And that's his whole point, is like, you can go sell. He says that line to me, he goes, if you want to go sell coke with my uncle, it's your business. You do it on Federation garbage routes, it's my business.
Federation,
and
you made me think of the Star Trek.
It's not Federation anyways. It's he uses a different word.
I know what you're saying. And to what Top Shelf said, yeah, he doesn't emote talking about Silvio. He doesn't emote like normal humans. That's because he's like trying to stay in character because he's so not an actor. But speaking of someone who is an actor, again, that speech that Janice just gave here, and Carmela gets really emotional here. I take Carmela's emotionality here because she's saying, "Oh my God, they have a beautiful love. Remember when I had that?" And she's thinking their love is so special, which is why she's happy at the end when Tony tells her Richie's dead. Where she's like, "Oh, okay, we're actually better."
Yeah, okay, here's part of my whole thing where, you know how I was saying at the beginning that I don't think it builds up to the right points. Like, I don't think there's enough there to justify it.
Yep, fair.
They just went from that moment, that like both of them, fucking two people in love, like at that point, to the way that it ends with him.
No, fair.
Both sides.
Yep.
Him punching her, him hitting her, him crossing that line for the first time.
Okay, in fairness, they set it up with the Richie thing with the kid.
The correct, like, yes, saying what's wrong if your son's.
Yeah, they set that up a couple of episodes where they have Richie. That's where I agree. It comes a little fast from considering the relationship that we've seen them have, and even to the point where if Richie's old school, this goes against his old schoolness. Because what does he say to Christopher in the second episode when Christopher had beat up Adriana?
No, he does say as soon as you marry, you can do what you want.
Right,
no.
But he's not. Yeah, exactly. Until you marry her, you can't do that. Once you marry her, you can put your hands on her. From the old school mafia douchebaggery fucking stuff. So he breaks his own rule. And that gets him shot.
And actually, Paulie uses the same excuse for sniffing her panties. He's like, hey, as soon as he's married to her.
Right, when Paulie's sniffing Adriana's panties. Yep. Yeah. And Tony runs out of the house here as Carmela's waking up. And I love this. okay, Irina may suck, but the blonde girl, I forget the actress's name. She's amazing. She plays this, and she does not really have one leg that is completely makeup and bullshit, and she pulls that off. I would have thought she was.
She's in what other show is she in? I think she's in The Americans. Now that I think.
Oh,
of
is
it.
she?
Yes, she is definitely 100% the Americans. It's about they're when they're in Russia at one point. They have real Russians. So.
Yeah. So she tried to kill herself because she went to a modeling agency to sell a salad spinner, and they told her she was too old.
The other problem is Phil and I have a lot of Russian friends who speak with thick Russian accents, and hers is sort of bullshit. It's not on. The Cousins is good. This one isn't.
The Cousins is good. Her compared like I could just see.
I would die. Like it's
yeah.
Overdone.
Can't you just see Dimitri's face watching her do that accent? Like no, just say no.
She looks Russian. She very much looks Russian. But
so this is a fun scene. And again, Matt, I hear what you're saying about some of this, but some of this I think it's some interesting business. I think Edie Falco is like amazing in this scene as she's showing this jealousy and contempt for Tony, and her amazement and how she's turned on and amazed by Janice playing with guns with Richie, and I love her response. You let him put a gun at your face? I thought you were a feminist. I love that line. Like it has anything to do with it. And I love just like it's only sometimes loaded, which comes back later because later she goes and gets the gun so quick because she says to Richie that she put Olivia to sleep because she hoped they'd have sex later. That's why the gun is out.
Is she really Russian? If she is, she still does a terrible job. And maybe she's just not a good actress.
Either way, for the basis of this podcast, Justin, she's not Russian anymore. For Matt's point.
If she is, that doesn't mean she was like born in Russia. If she was born in Russia, then she's a terrible actress.
I will say, I don't give a shit if Matt Damon and fucking Ben Affleck are from Boston. Their accents suck in Good Will Hunting.
Their Boston accents are terrible.
Terrible.
I don't know any good real Bostonians that do a good Boston accent.
We can fake it. No, we have some friends that have.
No, I can fake a Boston accent, but I don't fake it. The problem is they go too over
Matt,
the top.
I'm gonna say a couple names. The Davis Garishes. They have thick Boston accents, like real thick Boston accents.
Southy accents,
and it's real. So
I get called out by people that aren't from Boston, like people up here in Vermont will say it, or like
Joe has a pretty bad one too when he gets going.
Yeah, my mother has a bad one.
Yeah, some of our friends do. Some of our friends have it pretty thick when it comes out.
That line right there, this is the worst case of Stockholm Syndrome I've seen since Patty Hearst. The writing for him is awful.
And Justin's saying, all I'm saying...
the way he's standing.
Justin's like, all I'm saying, Matt, is I love her. So she's my wife. And I know.
Yeah, I mean, I have that too.
Oh, my goodness.
So that's Albert there.
Yeah, that's Albert. Albert Barisi.
Right.
And so... This is one of those moments just from a simple video editing standpoint or film editing standpoint I love. Richie tries to sell this, and right from the beginning they set up that Richie's just not likable. And he's not likable in the scene trying to sell this. He just can't, he doesn't have charisma. And I love at the end of the scene, watch how it ends, when he says, go against Tony Soprano, you a fucking idiot. And they cut to a paint can shaking that sounds like a machine gun fire. It's a really cool edit.
But that right there is I don't get what his thing is. Yeah, can you imagine that? I mean, is he just busting Richie's balls?
I think so. I
think
I don't know if he's dumb. Junior says that Albert is wily. So I think anytime it comes to something he doesn't.
No, is this Albert or not? No, this is who? This is Larry.
No, this is Albert. Larry's in jail.
Larry's the one in the picture in the back.
Yes.
Okay. Why do I have them backwards?
This is Albert. But he says that Albert's a slippery fuck. So I think he's repeating what Richie's saying every time he doesn't agree with him as a way of like putting him out there saying, yep, some people are getting their pockets fed, almost like throwing it back in his face to show him as a way of like showing him I'm not interested. I'm just fucking with you. So yeah, that edit right there to the machine gun sound of the paint can going, fucking I love. And then they throw this in here too. I forgot.
Right. I told you this a couple weeks ago when you were wondering if he was just turned off or not. And here's where you find out that he was really
I forgot they do
scared.
this. And they have the scene with Syl's wife, who's also an awful actress. That
she's terrible. She makes Syl look great.
Yeah, she does make Syl look great. Where she tells Edie somehow she knows that this guy got scared because of Tony. Like somehow she knows this, or she looked up in her Miss Cleo, Cleo crystal ball. Oh my goodness. Thank you to anyone that is joining us at any point in time tonight.
Right now, Carmela, who has a huge thing for him.
They're so cute.
She thinks that he still didn't show up because he wanted to do the right thing. Here, it's not until
much later until she's talking to Syl's wife.
It's when she's talking to Syl's wife, right? That's when she says to him.
I love
Victor Musto?
What was that?
No, Victor Musto. That's the way his wife is an awful.
Oh, it's his real life. Oh, sorry, Stevie Van.
Oh no, it is his real.
She's amazing, Steve. Stevie Van Zandt. She's amazing if you're watching. She's
not.
We have Stevie Van Zandt in the next episode coming on the podcast. So
shit, that's right.
we got to be nice to him.
I'm gonna tell him to leave his wife at home.
So I love how Edie Falco or how Carmela plays this scene, and we've all been in this situation in real life when you're not interested in the person anymore, and they try to simulate those moments of looking at you to have like a pregnant, awkward pause look moment, and she's giving him that look like they were staring at each other before, like he's feeling the same thing again, looking at him in his eyes, and he just has this look in his like fear, like get the F away from me. I've both given that look and gotten that look before. When someone's past you or you're past them and you're like, hi, and they just like, hi.
Yep. I need you to give me the number of a good shrink. She's from Ukraine? Really?
Interesting.
She's a shitty actress, then. I mean, like she looks Russian. Obviously, she can speak Russian, but.
Sorry, the way you said that was very good response, Matt. So I love this scene with him and Milfy too. Again, maybe this isn't maybe I'm agreeing with you. It's not, the room isn't tied together with a nice rug, but there's a bunch of really good individual scenes. This scene with Milfy, when he's like, yeah, I've been having sex with her for 2 years, and Milfy's like, is that a hardship? Like that caused her to kill herself. Like, right there, she said it right there. That's cute.
Well, that's a whole other thing. I mean, but this is a very Tony Soprano thing where he does genuinely care about her. He legitimately, at the end of the day, if he had his way, she would go off. The Russian, the Ukrainian girlfriend, she would go off and have a great life and be very successful and find happiness and marry someone and do all of that.
But
like, he honestly believes it and is willing to facilitate that.
Matt, I only bring you season 4 when she finds the senator guy. He wants that, but still he cares about her enough that we've all been in that situation too. Your years past.
I don't remember that either. That scene you're talking about.
We'll get to that. Your years past in a relationship, and you bump into your ex, and it can't work no matter what, but you still feel that like sense of a jealousy or uncomfortability about it.
Right.
The episode is great, Merle. Great to see Merle Davis in the live motherfucking chat.
Why did they make him wear a fat suit? He looks so
I
ridiculous.
don't know. And he eventually did get that fat, but I guess
I know. I'm not fat right now, so it's fine.
You're up and down sometimes, Matt.
I'm up right now.
Steve Sharippa, I think he was pretty skinny at this point in time. He was a college basketball player and stuff. So I think he didn't have that fat man look at all. And they probably wanted it looks so stupid. Especially knowing that it just doesn't look good.
Right.
This is a funny scene. Junior is hilarious, and as he just puts this all together and ultimately here decides that and then this is as Junior's putting the pieces together that Richie's just so fucking unlikable. No one likes this guy.
I love that right there.
Yeah.
Telling Jackie Jr. to shut the fuck up.
Now, Junior gets the best lines. Even in David Chase mentioned that he was his favorite to write for, and I think Junior just gets some of the best lines.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He can't wait. We're going to talk about.
So, do you think Junior wanted? You think Junior wanted Richie to be able to sell it or not?
I think Junior wants money. I think Junior is so focused right now on not going broke.
When he sent him there, do you think he thought he could sell it?
Yes. I think he was hoping. because I think he thinks that would be him being boss. You know, like Richie wouldn't take charge. Richie would yield to Junior.
You amaze me, Junior.
I'm in awe of you is the line.
Right.
But that's the thing. Because that's a good question, Matt. Is he sounding this out right now for the first time? Like, did Junior want Richie to be successful? His reaction makes me think that he did. His initial reaction makes me think.
Well, Richie was putting money in his pocket.
Right, exactly. It's whoever puts money in his pocket. Junior's really a money guy. And yes, Van Zandt's gonna come on. We're gonna get Springsteen on too. He's gonna have Springsteen on his Zoom, and we're gonna get him pop in for a second too.
One of my favorite lines in the show is between. It's when he meets up with Tony later in the doctor's office. It's Tony's like he's like, why don't you leave your opinions wherever the fuck? But it's his delivery on it's perfect.
Yeah, that scene with the two of them is really awesome too, because Tony knows Junior got one over on him, but Junior kind of gets him back into a corner where he can't do anything but thank him and give him a gift for what he did. And I love how he says, "What are you, Ed Helm or something?" Which is I found out was Dean Martin played a detective that that was going undercover, and it was like a 60s or a 70s television show starring Dean Martin where he played an undercover FBI agent.
This acting is terrible here by him.
But it's supposed to be faking it, Matt.
Wobbistics. That's maybe the most dated thing in this whole show, is that something was ever named Wobbistics, or that they tried to make it look like it was Wobbistics. When those other kids were over, like Wobbistics, like yelling at the guys when one of them kicks their ass.
Oh yeah, is that Vinny Del Pino?
No, it's not Vinny Del Pino. It's one of the two. It's the guy that shoots Christopher.
Okay,
yelling Wobbistics.
Oh, those two morons. The two that hit the card game.
Bevilacqua and the other kid.
Yeah.
And then you just watch
Matt?
this acting here.
Is the other kid named Matt?
No, it's Matt Bevilacqua, the other kid.
Yeah, Brian or it was Brandon? No.
No. That's Brendan Filoni. This is the kid who.
No, I know who it is. I'm just trying to remember his name.
Oh yeah, right. Adriana.
Here we go. Clean.
I'll keep you posted.
I don't know, Matt. He's not great, but he's charming as fuck.
Yeah, sure, real charming. Oh, here we go.
Here we go. Listen.
See, they have cell phones.
It's Fat Man. Should I ascertain?
I just heard about they're gonna jack a load of these Pokemon cards.
The old Pokemon cards.
Justin, I think you just wanted to say pussy criticism. I think you just wanted to type out the words. I don't agree with the pussy criticism. Thank you so much for Justin popping in the chat, and thank you to anyone that's popping in and out of here checking out this live stream at any point in time or watching this later. You can always leave a comment in the comment section whenever you watch this or call in and leave a voicemail at 781-990-8509 if you want to do that, and we'll play it on a future Sopranos episode.
Oh, here she is throwing some more fastballs at Tony.
She's angry. Oh yeah, I was wrong about one thing. This is after she went to the modeling agency.
Right.
And come on, she's not too old to sell salad spinners. What fucking agency is telling her she looks too old to sell salad spinners?
Seriously. Who wants like a young girl selling them salads?
Yeah, this is salad spinners. If anything, she looks too young to sell salad.
Seriously, salad spinners should be someone in their 30s or 40s.
Yeah, would you?
Still in great shape. People in 20s don't eat their salads.
I want
when you get older, it's like.
Yeah, I want someone like a Martha Stewart age range selling me a salad spinner. I don't want a young, beautiful Russian.
Her prosthetic leg falls off in the Gap store.
And he comes over with his, like a knight in white satin armor.
And where is my knight in white satin armor?
I don't. She's not great, but I think her and they're not as bad together as, say, Pussy and Skip. Like, the two of them have chemistry, even though I will say that I agree that she's not the greatest actress in the world, but I think he's good enough to carry their scenes, and I think the other actress is awesome. I think the blonde is amazing, is like an amazing actor.
He's That's the thing. Tony's just amazing.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. who he's
Yeah,
with.
he is so good that he like in this scene, he carries so much weight that you can believe it. And as an actor working with something like that, when you're working with someone that good, you can't help but be good. It's like playing basketball with someone that passes really well. You can't help but be in the place in the right time to score the.
I mean, how awful can you imagine if Silvio was with a weak actor in a bunch of scenes? It would be terrible. But like, it works because he's in scenes with Tony and Christopher and like those people who are incredible actors.
and even Sirico, who is very good at playing those characters.
It's perfect, right?
Is
Perfect.
this the scene? Is this it? Oh no, it isn't. No, it's the next scene. This is the scene setting it up, as we see Richie starting to get pissed off about.
And realize he doesn't have money. He realizes he's not going to take down Tony.
Yeah.
She has all these dreams that. Oh yeah, she spills the beans here about the.
About AJ.
Well, yeah, and also even at their house, you saw Tony like, "Hey, Meadow, go help your mother," like getting Meadow away from him.
What the
because
fuck
Meadow
is
was
Janice
talking
trying to do here? Because is this where she starts quoting Sun Tzu and shit? Like what the fuck is Janice trying to do? And Junior says it later. I wonder where her place is in all of this. Is Janice really want to be the queen so much that she's willing to kill her brother for it? Yeah, right. Like she's totally willing to let Tony die here, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Who's worse, Janice or Livia, in your mind?
Janice.
Because she has more
Because
agency.
Livia is stuck in her own little world. Livia can only access a couple people. Okay, that's it. That's who Livia has access to in the world. Janice goes out and jumps into other people's lives.
Yeah, Janice
fucking turns it upside down and is having romantic relationships where she can use the fact that she's willing to do literally anything sexually for these people and fulfill their desires to get what the fuck she
And
wants.
Janice has some of that Johnny Boy charm.
Yeah.
And I love this as we see Livia. Totally forget about Livia. Come on, guys. Hey, guys. What's that sound down there, Philip? Are you guys smoking down there?
So I guess they do show that's his first sort of physical outburst in front of her. Oh my God, the searchlight diner, more pussy on the scene.
On the Pokemon cards.
Subject is still not left. Like, how does he go? How does he go from where he was to this?
Yes, and to Top Shelf's claim, yes, that is true. David Chase did bring in Stevie Van Zandt to be Tony Soprano. They didn't offer him the part, but I'll challenge the offering him the part. But initially, he was brought in because they thought he was going to play that part. There's a couple of other actors that they thought he had to really push for Tony. Tony auditioned twice.
Show doesn't work with anyone else besides James Gandolfini. Can you name anyone else that can play that they could have pulled that off?
Not at this age. I mean, maybe someone like De Niro could have done something with it, but I mean, like, it would have been a different thing. Like, I mean, young De Niro.
It would have been a different thing. And the other thing that's incredible about Gandolfini, and honestly, every actor and actress in the show, none of them. This is so awful right here. Look at this. Yeah. What a great actor. There you go. You fuck. Hit him.
Brando could have played it at a point in time. Marlon Brando could have played that part. I mean,
the problem with all those people is they're enormous stars, and you can't get their other roles out of your head. You don't have that with Gandolfini.
Yeah.
He is not an A-list actor where you're trying to.
No, this made him an A-list actor. This is the show that made him that.
He's always.
Yeah.
So when you watch anything else, he's Tony Soprano first.
This is a great scene between. This is the only scene that Irina's awesome in when she's arguing with this person. And yes, Top Shelf. Justin is absolutely correct. They initially wanted Ray Liotta and Milfy to play Carmela because they wanted to recreate that relationship from Goodfellas.
Right.
That was his goal. But James was and is great. He's great at comedy. He's great at drama. I think. I mentioned it before, but a movie he did right towards the end is called The Drop with him and Tom Hardy, an underrated movie, even though Tom Hardy does a relentless Rocky impression. Yeah, Sean Connery. He could do anything.
He could, but that's the problem is he's James Bond first. Or to people my age and Phil's age, he's Indiana Jones's dad first.
Yeah.
Like, there's none of that with Tony Soprano. He gets to just be Tony Soprano, which is why, which is one of the reasons why there is the issue with Buscemi.
Sorry to interrupt here, but Matt, this is a little tip to all of you guys. If you cheat on your wife and she accepts a Gumar situation and your Gumar, unfortunately, and I hope she never does, tries to kill herself, never try to get your wife to garnish sympathy on you like this.
Right.
This is like, Tony might be a smart guy, but this is
The poor kid.
Yeah, this is so dumb. Like, what was he going to accomplish? What did he think he was going to fucking accomplish here? Like, seriously. Like, what was he going to accomplish here? What are you trying to do, Tony? Come on, dude. You're smarter than this. Oh, right here. Okay. Like, how does she and how does Mrs. Silvio know this?
They all know. Oh, because
Like, how does she know this?
no, because what? Because it's Tony. She knows that Victor Musto did the wallpaper because she was. Remember, it's Victor Musto's sister who introduces them all, and they're all in that meeting together.
Okay.
All the women.
Yep. No, you're right. She was all right. Okay, this is the best scene in the episode. The two of them in any scene that just has Junior and Tony is worth the price of admission for me.
And look at him protect. This is Junior at his absolute slyest. What do you mean? I played him. I wanted to see. I wanted him to do that.
And that's when he goes, "What are you, fucking Ed Helms or something?" Like what is it?
That's my favorite line.
Fuck?
You're so high-handed with everyone else. Why don't you stick to what you know and leave your opinions wherever the fuck?
And I would say Junior's another one. Like, the only other person that I always see playing Junior would be like someone like Alan Arkin, but I don't know if he could pull off Mafia as well. But I think Alan Arkin has the same sort of acerbic kind of personality that he could pull off something similar to a Junior. But
Yes, but the problem is Alan Arkin is like, again, you're thinking of other roles. No one in this show, with the exception of Steve Buscemi and maybe Joey Pants, are you picturing in other roles? Melfi, maybe. That's
Melfi,
the only
but
one.
but Melfi. Justin. Yeah, Matt Helm. What are you, double agent? What are you, fucking Matt Helm? I love.
You said Ed Helm because of Ed Helms. That's why
I did say Ed Helm. It's Matt Helm. And yes, again, that's a show starring Dean Martin from. And Junior is laying this on strong because he made the right choice. He absolutely made the right choice. He's better off with Tony. In the first season, he got manipulated by Olivia. I don't think he really wanted to kill Tony in the first season. And I think he has an affinity for Tony that comes through the entire series, even though Tony does not have the makings of a varsity athlete.
This is very true.
He does.
He does not.
He does not. So he gets 2.5% more on his kick, which could be a lot of money, right, Matt? What would be 2.5% of $500,000?
2.5% of $500,000.
Yes.
It's not as much as you'd think. 2.5% of $1 million is $20,000. So
Oh, okay, that's not that much. So it's only $20,000. It's like getting a raise of $1 a week.
Yeah.
So, and I love how Junior has a read on Janice this whole time.
Yeah.
And here we go. Our buddy, you know him, you love him. He doesn't show up too often, but here he is. So much personality. He's awful too, but I don't care. I will watch Stevie Vincent. I watched Lilyhammers all the way through, and I liked it, which is basically the Syl show. I think he has amazing charisma in this character. You can see how David Chase met him in real life, and he said, "You need to be on my Mafia show."
Right.
Great line by Syl here, as Syl's just like, let's kill him. And they decide ultimately in this moment to kill Richie. And then I believe it's the next scene, Matt. I think it's the next scene that we get this Janice and Richie thing happen. And again, I ask you, you don't mind what happens, you just think the lead-in is a little too quick.
Again, him hitting her is quick.
Yeah,
and her response being what it is quick.
I feel like we should have heard more. I feel like we've seen Richie with her all season, and he's been nothing but very kind to her. And we know these people are pieces of shit, and that's supposed to be part of it, that these are fucking criminal, fucking abusing assholes that can do this at any point in time.
And unlike, and both, especially her, really mentally unhinged.
Yes.
Like Paulie, like someone like Paulie Walnuts he's an aggressive psychopathic asshole, but he's not unhinged in this same way where he's like, I don't know, like Janice is like insane. Like
Right. So what did
she has no code. There's no code to Janice. There's no like code of honor or any of that shit with her. It's the most self-serving shit in the world.
Richie never thought she was going to do this. It just never entered his mind. But like, I feel like maybe they should have set up that when he first got back together with her, like at the yoga thing at the beginning of the season, that when they had a relationship before, he hit her once. And that ended the relationship. I just feel like that should have been established. Similar, again, I'm mentioning the prequels. When Obi-Wan says to Anakin, I've got the higher ground. I feel like they should have set that up by having a scene in the first movie where he's training him that says...
About how important the higher ground is.
Exactly. Just a little small scene.
Yeah.
And I feel like in this situation, we should have had a moment where Janice says, you went to jail. Are you the same man? I'll never be hit again. Never hit me again. Yeah, I
told you I'd never hit you again. Next time I hit you, blah, blah, blah. You know, something like that.
Something like that. Because I agree with you compared to their relationship.
Like that. He goes from being, I mean, granted, the line that could put him over the edge is, so what if your son's gay?
Right.
You know why? He's old school, Janice, but like he can't handle that.
but Matt, what about the jacket? The jacket!
Yeah. Gave it to that dumb Pollock.
So she may be crazy, but this isn't a very emotional decision that she makes. She takes her time and thinks about this.
Well, and then he follows it up with this. There's no, I'm sorry I was out of line. There's none of that.
Do you think
There's the most fucked up response you could have right now.
Do you think if he said sorry?
What?
No, do you think if he said sorry, it would have made a difference?
Anything like, I'm so sorry, I'm out with my brother. Like, they still have issues. She doesn't shoot him, though. Instead, he does the most fucked up thing he can do, which is throw her magazine aside, eat the dinner she just made for him, and say, what are you going to do, cry now? It's the most fucked up response you could have.
And she shoots him once, calm look on her face, like totally calm. She knows how to shoot this gun. She holds it. Daddy showed her how to shoot a gun. And then he just walks right up to her. Yeah, the toughest guy in Essex County, she took that. Gary Dillon-Hunt is amazing. And then she shoots him again, still calm. Like, I love the look on her face, like, no regret. The emotion that she puts on later is for Tony's benefit, to make herself seem like, you know, emotional. She's cool and calm about that. She feels good about what she did, I think, ultimately. And as Devin Dwarfberger said, the massive amounts of therapy they all need is the joke and theme of this show. I have the high ground after using a magic flip over for other 3 hours is the worst line in movie.
Right.
It really is. It's one of those. And Janice is smart enough in this moment to know to be like, don't talk on the phone. I can't say it now. I can't say now. Think.
See, I also don't buy this either. I don't buy where he knows that Richie's looking to kill him. He knows his sister's sick and fucked up enough to aid and abet that.
That's why
he has his gun out when he walks in the door, but he still goes over there by himself.
Yeah, but as you say, Richie's old school. He's not going to invite a guy over to his house to make a hit like that. That's
true.
not. That's
not when his mother's there upstairs.
Exactly. That's like doing a hit on a Sunday. You know, like
it's true.
You're not going to do that. That's too much disrespect for someone that was friends with his brother. Like, he wouldn't do that. He'd shoot him in the street like a man, and he'd want him to see his eyes. You know, I love to look at the smirk on Tony's face as he walks into the place. He peeks over the corner. You see his face.
Because he also hates his sister, and he knows that she has to deal with this, and that she's all fucked up from it.
He loves it. Like, the look at his face, he's so happy about this.
And it's relief. It's pure relief. He doesn't have to worry about this at all.
Right.
He's just like, holy shit, this is no longer my problem.
Look at the sense of... I don't think we've ever seen a happier Tony Soprano. He's just like, ah. I mean, I think a lot of people are with you, Justin, that they wouldn't mind of seeing Janice get some more comeuppance. I think seeing her get her butt kicked by the Russians later on in the series for stealing the league was a sort of a rewarding point in time for all the shit she was put through.
I think losing Bobby is that big of a deal.
It is
because that was her
good guy.
Yeah,
it was her chance at
that was her way out and to be like to actually have a normal life.
And I love how Tony turns into the wolf here. As we see him get in, and Justin mentioned this earlier. One of my favorite lines in the whole entire episode is coming up from Furio, coming up soon, where he's how you do a minor character right, because he kills every moment he has. He's like, bring the Cadillac to the impound. Cadillac, mi amore, vila. He's just,
and he couldn't Oh my God, this. Okay, so the single most uncomfortable thing in the entire show is about to happen. Do you know what I'm talking about, Phil?
Tell me about it, man.
Okay, so in here, at some point, Skip is going to awkwardly tug on his toe, okay, and say like, "Oh, you don't mean it. Watch." He's going to reach out and grab his foot at some point.
I think I missed that, Matt. I don't think I've ever seen that. I'm going to watch.
Keep your eye on Pussy's fucking foot.
I'm going to watch Pussy's foot.
He's going to be like, "Oh, no, it's okay, buddy," and like grab his toe. It's the culmination of their whole fucking shitty relationship.
Oh no, you're right. You're so right. It's about to happen, isn't it? Look up. Look at me.
FBI employee, Sal.
Yeah, Furio is great.
That's not gonna happen.
Hey, we got Ken in the live chat. I think it might be your fan, Matt.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna last long. So.
No. No, we get some. I think we get some. I'll take care of it if it gets in that direction.
All right, so just watch what he does here with his foot. Just watch his foot.
It's a good thing.
I can show you. Is it when I can show you statistics?
Yeah. What? Just watch.
Oh my God! Why do you do that? I can't unsee that anymore.
Sal, don't be that way, and grabs his toe and shakes it.
He shook the foot. Oh my God!
He shook Big Pussy's big toe. Like,
that's
how is that the move?
That was a nice pussy handshake. Janice was one of my favorite characters too, Dev. Welcome to Ken. And
he said Janice wasn't my favorite
wasn't.
character.
Okay, wasn't. I accept that too. The actress played her in a way that's very unlikable, and I mean I think she plays unlikable really well.
It's the same way Joey Pants crushes Richie, not Richie, Ralphie, because he's that unlikable.
Yep. And but Ralphie is unlikable but charming as fuck too. I love Carmela star 69ing here to make sure that Tony's really in the situation.
She didn't star 69. I think she called her house.
Right, but I mean, she probably. Oh no, it's star 67 when you can give your.
But she would have known. He said he was going to his sisters. That was the thing. I think she called the sisters to see. It doesn't matter how the fuck she called or why. I think she called Genesis to see if Tony was there.
Yeah, no, 100%. 100%. I guess I meant more when you was it star 67 when you could dial and make your number blocked.
Yes, and star 69 was to call someone back.
So I meant
but see, if she just star 69, Tony should pick up wherever that is.
Right. I think she probably star 67 to do blocked, so Tony. Then I talked myself out of it because Junior wouldn't have caller ID. He's old school.
Right. That wasn't Junior's. That was. You mean?
Oh, Livia's. Yeah, Livia's house wouldn't have caller ID.
Yeah, she's old school, Janice.
She's old school, Janice. She'd wear that jacket. She took it off this guy from Essex County. So Olivia, amazing scene. She's few and far between in season 2, but when she pops in, and Matt knows I have a huge hard on for Olivia, but like
he really does. It's like uncomfortable. No one loves Olivia.
It's because we get so little of her in the series, and I think she's such a dynamic part of the show and would have been in the long-term plans of the show. So it's like it's a lot of what if, like wasted talent kind of feeling with Olivia, saying like,
I don't need that shot of her.
Oh yeah, we get spread Olivia, and this is.
Although I would rather watch that than the toe grab, like all day long. I'd rather watch that on repeat than watch the toe grab once.
And this is the first scene that Tony's had with Olivia all season, and it's not till the end of the season after the big scene at the end of season 1 where he tries to suffocate her. This is the first time.
Now, right here, you see Tony turn on his mother.
Yep.
For Janice, because she goes, "Oh, he probably jilted her." Story of her life.
And this is just, but Matt, seriously, this is just an amazing scene. The way Olivia manipulates the fuck out of Tony here, like puts him on tilt. She puts him on so much tilt. Like Tony thinks he has the upper hand, and Olivia's like, what she says here about. Tell me whatever I did. Babies are like animals. You gotta. What is the line here? Children are like animals, like dogs.
I wasn't always perfect, but I always tried to do the best I could. And I know you didn't. Any of you didn't like it when I tried to tell you what to do. Babies are like animals. They're no different than dogs.
Dogs. Babies like animals. They're no different than dogs.
I was your mother.
And then she just turns us around by going, "What, Matt? You're not going to kiss me? You're cruel. And then she starts fake crying. Tony runs out of here, slips and falls. She starts laughing, and then
It's so fucked
and
up.
then turns it right into another cry as she closes the door and smiles.
Yeah, it's a half laugh, half cry. It's the most ridiculous reaction to anything in the world.
It's
I
so
couldn't tell when
good.
I watched it. What is she doing? Is she laughing or crying?
I think she's laughing, but then she's putting the fake cry on because she wants everyone to think that everything's so tragic. You know, she's one of those people.
Yes, Devin, that's 100% true. For the therapy to work, the mom really had to be like
evil, like top of the line evil. I love it.
His worst acting he ever does is right there.
When he slips and falls.
Did you? Okay, so I have the closed captioned on, and do you know what the closed caption said right there?
No, what did it say?
It said chuckles/sob was what it described, that sound coming out of her mouth. Chuckles/sob. It's exactly what she does.
Speaking of, in a great scene, speaking of chuckling and sobbing, we got the wonderful, the amazing Silvio Dante. Oh, we got the awesome Mandrell in the live motherfucking chat.
How you doing, hun?
How you doing, hon? It's not too good to get a rep.
He says that to Carmelo all the time too. Well, how you doing, hun?
How you doing, hon? But great to see Mandrell. You're awesome people in the live chat. I got to get you on one of these discussions at some point, Mandrell. Maybe not the Sopranos, but I just mean on some discussion on the channel. I gotta have you on. I always enjoy getting the bullshit with you on Tony's streams. Time is a great enemy. I love when again a good line read on her part when he says, I don't want the money. It's 75. She goes, 75? Like the way she says that, I just like it's very Yoda-ish. Careful it be.
He's very smart man.
Yeah, yes, you listen to Mr. Dante. He's very smart man. All my accents end up sounding Jamaican. I'm like, yeah, man. I'm trying to do Russian, and somehow I'm down by the beach. Ali, man.
Right near the beach.
Yeah, right by the beach. Awesome, man.
Was that Dirty Joe Locks right there? Joe Dirty Locks there.
Did Joe just walk by the shot?
He did. You missed it. He had we have
I've been
to
looking
rewind
for
that
Joe
afterwards.
I've been looking for Joe for months. I don't know where Joe's been.
Just missed him. He was right there.
Yeah, Joe's the disappearing man. So yes, and what I was saying before, this potentially when they were working out this scene and writing it and doing it, this was theoretically supposed to be Janice's last scene.
Yeah, because I forget why she even comes back. Why
she comes
put
back
her
for
on a bus to get out of here?
Livia's funeral. Like the actress was never supposed to. She probably would have come back eventually, but was never contracted to come back. But when Nancy Marchand died, it was a surprise. It wasn't. I always thought that they knew she was sick, but I guess they didn't, and she died more suddenly, and they needed to think on their feet. And they called Aida, and they had Aida come back and become a series regular to kind of be that female force in Tony's life, causing disarray on that subatomic level, on that particular level. Oh, awesome!
This is amazing right here.
Really? Like she believes?
Janice,
She believes for fuck's sake. I love how Janice is able to be outside of it a little bit, like, and talk to Tony about what's wrong with the mother and be like.
Right.
Didactic about it, but then she falls into that Livia thing, like right there. I loved him so much. My Johnny boy was a saint. Like she falls right into that, because she's batshit crazy. But she's not. To your point, Matt, she might be worse than Livia because she knows how to connect with people and be that crazy. Where Livia is sort of out of touch and
Livia's never left fucking New Jersey.
Yeah.
Like Janice spreads this shit around all around the country.
Yeah, Janice is worldly. She spreads that craziness.
She says when she's talking to Richie, she's like, "Oh, I don't know what I would have ever thought I would have found over in wherever the hell she says she's somewhere over like in India or Pakistan or something like that."
Phil, if I want to do Russian accents, just do Dracula. Matt, were you did you come soon enough to be in that play that was written by Brian Miller's mom? The one,
no.
The one that Evan Grossman was the lead in, where it was all about.
You mean Mike Grossman?
Mike Grossman, yeah. Sorry, Evan Grossman was a different kid. Mike Grossman was the lead, where I
was not there though.
It was all about. It was like a vampire show. It was like, I come to drink your blood, ga 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 ga. It was I think it must have been second then, because you came in third. Did you come in fifth? Was it fifth? Okay, I think it was in third. I think it was the Squires year. think
That was fourth.
That was fourth. No, fourth we had shit.
Not 4. No, Squires is middle school. You're thinking of
No,
Mr.
no. I had Squires. This is where we're talking about
Mrs. Squires.
No, I had Mr. Squires in 3rd grade at Stanley.
Stop it.
He was slumming it one year. My grade, you can ask people, Palmer and Hayfitz and those dudes.
Oh yeah, because I talked to those guys. I'll ask Kaplan or one of them.
I believe a Kaplan was in my class. He might have been in the opposite one.
He'd still know he was there. Scott remembers everything. So
yeah, the Squires was there for a couple of years. So Carmela gets excited about. Sorry for that little aside to our elementary school years.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, sorry for our fifth grade tales of a 5th grade nothing right there. 4th grade nothing.
Yep.
Carmela is happy that Richie's gone and that they're the top couple and they're not something's hiding. And now Tony gets upset that Carmela's planning a trip without him. What are people gonna think? I'm old school, Carmela.
Graduation, me and Rosalie Aprile are going to Rome for 3 weeks.
Is this really that big of a deal for Tony?
We're going to stay at the
But
house.
I get is it just one of those things that all the boys would be like, oh my God, what's up? You let your wife go away? Like, I don't get why Tony.
I think part of it is
Is this like the
he
eating pussy
may-
thing?
And you've got to find a tennis clinic for men.
He may think that she's gonna try to get back at him by going over there and banging guys.
Yeah. But as far as we know, until she starts dating the guy from Batteries Not Included, the teacher guy from Batteries Not Included later on, that Tony's the only guy that Carmela's ever been with, I believe.
Right. I think she says she wants to. Well, she says she wants to bang Fiora, obviously.
Oh yeah, but she never does. And I think the only guy she does bang is the teacher.
Right.
And we get the song back, Save the World Today, as this episode ends. Not one of Matt's favorite episodes of The Sopranos, but still another good one, for me anyways. But compared to some of the other episodes we've been watching, I can see why it's maybe not one of your favorites, as we're leading into next week's huge episode,
Okay.
Funhouse.
To mention something like Devin talked about before about how terrible that episode 3 is. It's but the thing about episode 3 that makes it more tolerable than episode 1 or episode 2 is because the events that happen in it are that important that you still have to watch it. The events that happen in this one are still important. It's still important.
Should we
Like Richie dying is such a thing. It's such a huge thing that I'm willing to tolerate the fact that I don't necessarily love all of the subtle aspects that the best episodes of The Sopranos have in them.
Very fair, very fair. So, everybody, I'm so sick of principals getting all the ass. So if you can't control his wife, he can't control his men. I guess there is some aspect of that to the standpoint.
I mean, it's a total, mafioso thing. It's not a normal guy thing. It's because he's, But why the hell would he want to go? Would he want to go with her?
No, Padme, no.
Oh my God, this is the worst.
Do you love how everyone's so excited that Hayden Christensen's back? Like they just forget. Everyone gets Men in Black flashy thinged when there's new movies that suck too. Just because new movies suck doesn't make previous movies less suck. Hayden was not good in those movies, and why are we excited that he's back in stuff? I don't want to quickly shift this, but a great episode of The Sopranos. Matt and I are going to try to be back next week to finish off the year and do the final episode.
We told ourselves we would get this season done before the end of this year because this has been 7 years in the making at this point, or 5 years at least.
Yeah, we waited like
5 years.
Yeah, we waited like 900 days between episodes at one point. So we're trying to actually get this done so we can talk about something new. Someone called us out earlier. You guys just want to talk about. I want to continue doing podcasts with Matt. Especially now that he doesn't live near me, so it's an excuse to talk to him a couple times a month. But eventually, we're going to talk about different things with The Sopranos. But we just need to get through these Sopranos episodes.
This is one of those things. This is on my bucket list is to finish this bullshit just to be done with it.
If we both die after we're done with this, it's fine because it's or if we never talk again. If this is the last thing you and I ever do together, Matt, and then suddenly we're just yeah, that's fine. We've known each other since 5th grade. It's time to be.
We'll
done.
always have that. It's fine. We'll always have this.
We'll always have this experience. That's really good. Yeah. Mando looks like it's drowning in tears. Star Wars feels dirty. The Australian dude loves the prequels. He is insane. Anomaly. I mean, okay. I still think maybe those 3 movies could have been better if Lucas had just had Spielberg direct them and he just wrote them and then had a writer punch them up a little bit. I still don't think they would have been amazing, but I think they would have been much more well put together films. I think George Lucas, especially at the age he was when he made the prequels, had no fucking patience for directing. And even when he was young, Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, and Harrison Ford all say that Lucas's big acting tips, like if you're not a self-motivated actor, it really helps to have a director that gets in your face, kind of motivates you either positively or negatively, and helps you engage in your performance. Lucas, historically, to those guys, Harrison Ford and Mark Hamill, they would say that he would just say louder, faster. You know, he doesn't really give you much direction. He gets annoyed with that stuff. He just expects it all to be on the page. And I think that was okay with Mark Hamill and Harrison Ford and Carrie Fisher because they're all performers that have this edge to them. They're all from a different age, multifaceted performances that can almost like motivate themselves. I think Hayden Christensen, and I think you saw the same thing with Ian McGregor or whatever his name is, playing Obi-Wan, and also Qui-Gon there. I think that's why those two gave good performances because they're Shakespearean trained actors that know how to motivate themselves. And I think Hayden's not the best actor in the world, but he's not the worst either. I just think in a situation with Lucas is like, yeah, you know, you love her. Act like you love her.
Well,
And
the other problem that he had was any human being on the face of the earth delivering those lines in episode 2, the like love storyline.
Yeah, Leonardo DiCaprio couldn't have done those lines good.
No, they were just, it was the worst written. That was the problem. And like Ewan McGregor didn't have those problems. He didn't have those lines where he wasn't trying to make a relationship with
Sand
anyone.
is all coarse, and I love you because the sand is coarse, and I want to make them hate. And I'm going to. I killed them all, and the children, and all the kids, and did them. But I think Lucas is a good, Lucas is a good base storyteller, and he's good at sketching things out. And I think some of the points that they reached in them, if it was handled by a good director that worked with some good actors and punched up the dialogue and stuff, and the way that Lucas would have this guy that worked with him on Indiana Jones movies and stuff punching up dialogue, I think it would have worked to make it sound like human people said it. And I also prefer Hayden Panettiere to Hayden Christensen. Save the cheerleader, save the world. I see Fury.
The other thing I think is that I think George Lucas mistakenly felt that the reason everyone loved those movies was because of the special effects, the first 3 episodes.
Yeah, no, it was because of those characters. It really was.
Because the characters, the story, the universe. But I think in his head, well, we spent so much time on the special effects, and the special effects were such a huge part of it that must be what drives people to like love these shows. So he decided, now that he had CGI, to just fucking, that's what he was going to do. That's why people watch this show. And I mean, episode 3 with Obi-Wan riding around on that dragon that was like, you know, Peter Jackson's leftover fucking extra dragon he never used in Lord of the Rings, and like Obi-Wan just rides it around for no reason. There's no reason for him to be on that. It's just...
Matt, can we talk about something better though here to transition, because you mentioned Peter Jackson. Do you know what Peter Jackson's next project is? He's working.
I don't even know what his last project was.
His last project was the Hobbit. But he's working right now on a Beatles documentary that will be out soon. About
Awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be. And I guess he punched up the footage. He went through like something like 600 hours of studio footage of them working in the studio on the Let It Be sessions and some of the White Album sessions, some of the Abbey Road sessions. And it's all going to be put together in a high definition like masterpiece. And excuse me, they've released a couple trailers and it really looks awesome. It looks like
amazing.
The quality of video looks like it could have been shot yesterday. You know, it's that high quality stuff, and the sound is great.
Sure,
too.
and it's probably never been seen, most of it. If it's just them recording shit in the studio, you know, it'll be amazing.
Dan and Dave wrote it, and they didn't have anything to base it on. Oh, don't horrify me. Thank goodness Dan and Dave didn't get their Star Wars series. That would have been the biggest pile of crap ever. Okay, Matt, I'm not going to keep you long here. We're going to come back next week. Matt and I will be back next Wednesday night. Same bat time, same bat channel, talking some more. I will probably be back before then again to do some talking. There's some interesting stuff coming away. I want to do speaking of Star Wars, I do want to do a short little rant cast on this season of The Mandalorian. I think I'll be doing that one by myself. I'll be doing that alone at some point coming up in the next couple of days. Now that I have like the next 9 days off of work, so I'll be doing some try to get into more of a rhythm doing some streams. Also, Cobra Kai is releasing sometime in the first week of January, potentially. They announced January 8th for season 3, and then they changed it to January. So either they decided to push it back for some reason, even though it was all edited and finished, or they decided to maybe give us a little New Year's Day surprise. I'm kind of thinking that we might wake up New Year's Day morning and have Cobra Kai Season 3 released in its entirety on Netflix. And also, on the 30th of December, the entire final 6 episodes of Vikings is released. And I'm going to do a binge watch of that and do some sort of discussion. Try to get Joe on that if possible. But if not, do that by my lonesome and maybe have some phone calls popping in, popping out. And myself and Mr. Tony Teflon sometime in the next couple of weeks, maybe in these next 10 days, are going to be doing a podcast on the Golden Girls. So you want to talk about an olden show? We're going to be doing
Dude, I have a Golden Girls t-shirt that someone bought me. The PD bought me. It's amazing.
Dude, one of the most well-written comedy shows ever put together. So I can't wait to get into that. We're just going to basically talk about what we love about the Golden Girls and break down each character type and talk about some of the awesome moments in that series. So
that's amazing.
And
can I ask you one question?
Of course.
Before we go here.
No, fuck you.
Is it worth? I know. Is it? I haven't seen any of season 2 of Mandalorian yet.
Yes.
Is it worth watching?
Yes.
Is it better than season 1?
Different. I think it's okay. This is my little spoiler. No spoilers for the season itself. Please try
I'm not giving any.
Yeah, this is no specific stuff. If anyone's seen this episode, please don't spoil it in the live chat. Matt, close out your live chat.
I'm not looking.
Just in case someone chooses to be a butthead right now. So what I will say is season 1 is better as individual episodes, the way it as its own entity onto itself. Meaning it had nothing to lose and it went out there and kind of just told its own story and its own thing and almost brought back a little era of television that doesn't cross over into the next episodes, like individual episodes where everything's done in one episode.
Right. There's that episode where they're on the ship for the whole time. I'm trying to remember it. And there's the one where they're on that land where you
continue that into season 2. I like season 2, but season 2 has a little bit of... They're trying to fuck all the holes of The Mandalorian because it's the only Star Wars thing that's working. So they're like, oh my God, someone in Disney's going, oh my God, see, our movies are failing, but this show is awesome. So what we should do now is release 20 different television shows and launch them all in these back half episodes and squeeze this in here and squeeze this in here and do this and bring this character in here and do this as a prequel onto the sequel and connect to the future series, connect to the prequels. Because this is the only Star Wars thing people like right now. Blah! And it's like there's part of this season that just connects to almost every Star Wars thing, whether it be the cartoon Clone Wars, Legends, whether it be the prequel series, the sequel series, the original trilogy. There's something that connects to each one of those things in a way that season 1, it was more like a wink and a nod. And this one, you can see the lines a little bit. I think it works for the most part. I think it actually does work, but... you can almost feel the mouse in the room a little bit more this season. Like, everybody, I'm here. Last season I let Favreau do his own thing. This season, I got to do a little bit of that MCU thing and bring in this character here. It's a little bit of that. I'm not saying it's bad, but there's a bit more of that if you're sensitive to it.
And I felt that season 1, again, I watched it a while ago when it was out, and I wasn't in the most sober of mind while watching every episode. It did almost feel like it didn't even have to be part of the Star Wars universe.
Just say people say just say it's better, Phil. I enjoyed it better from beginning to end. I feel like I enjoyed the storyline from beginning to end better. I think it was
season 2 or season 1?
Season 2. I personally like season 2 a lot. I was engaged in it. I followed it to the very end. There was some cheesy stuff that happened at the end that I could pick apart for whatever, but for the most part, I loved...
Season 1 had a lot of cheesy stuff.
So right, and cheesy is part of Star Wars. You just accept it. But I like season 2. I think it all worked. I do feel like the mouse was a little bit more in the room, though. I guess that's the best way I can say it. I don't think that's necessarily awful. I just think it's a thing. You can see him in there. You can see the ears in the back a little bit more in the season. Like, we need to use this because this is the thing that gets the most positivity. We need to launch a Baby Yoda movie. We need to launch this. Like, they didn't do that, but I'm just using that as an example. Like, you could smell the mouse money.
No one was making memes about the new 3 movies that came out.
But season 2 was better. It was tighter. They knew what they were doing a bit more. They had some really amazing directors pop in, and Bill Burr's cameo appearance is excellent this season. I'd say the last 8 episodes this season, I would say 7, 6, 5, and 4. 4, 5, 6, and 7 were all near like perfection for what I want from a Star Wars thing. The finale was 85% there. There was a couple of things in the finale I could be picky about, but I think there's this middle part of this season that for me anyways, I know Devin's in the chat saying, stay away from The Mandalorian, in flames, the show sucks. But, like, take Devin for what Devin's going to say. Devin's probably trashing it right now, right?
He just said in flames, avoid.
Right. Okay. So I'm just assuming Dev's. I'm not. I got my side butthole eye on the live chat. I'm not really looking at it right now. But
you
I
also know Devin and know what his take is going to be.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Devin's going to hate The Mandalorian. But I do think if you enjoyed season 1, you're likely to enjoy season 2 just as much, if not a little bit more.
Okay. I hope that's the case.
Yes.
I'm going to be honest with you. If it wasn't for the fact that it was Star Wars, I wouldn't have loved the season 1.
Okay, and Devin,
you are 100% correct.
Do you agree with that? Do you think the sequels are worse than the prequels?
Oh, they're so much worse. I feel we've discussed this episode.
I see. This is the disagreement I have. I think story-wise, you're right. Story-wise, I think the sequels are worse than the prequels. I think prequels have a tight, but I think production-wise, they're just better put together movies. They look better. They look way better. You can't deny that. At least The Force Awakens and those kind of movies look better than any of the prequel movies look visually.
I would have to say Episode 8 is the worst movie I've probably.
I know you hate Episode 8.
I mean, I can't think of anything that even like I rewatched Episode 7 and hated it less the second time. Still hated it. Hated it less.
Devin says the mouse is wearing Mandalorian's armor. And
I'm sure he is.
And Mandrell says, I agree, Phil. Season 2 is better. The mouse is in the room. So much worse. I think story-wise it's so much worse because there was zero plan. Zero plan. It was, let's do a fan servicey movie and do 2 movies where we have no plan and it's just a bunch of shit thrown against the wall.
What are you talking about?
The sequel movies. I think the first one's a big giant fan service, and the second one and the third one are, arguably shitty movies, story-wise. But I think visually they all look pretty good. I think the special effects, the way the cinematography and all of that stuff look way better than the prequel movies. That's all I'm saying. That's
Mark Hamill breastfeeding fucking aliens. Yeah, I mean that looked great. I mean that's exactly what I would expect it to look.
But you know what I mean? It looks better than the Gungans fighting fucking robots.
Of course, because this goes back to what I was saying in the first place, which is that George Lucas thought people cared about his stupid. I mean, listen, there's almost no worse CGI on the face of the earth than when they re-released 4, 5, and 6 with the CGI in it.
Oh, God.
That was
to
awful.
me, the worst Star Wars thing ever in the universe, though, is the added song, not the one at the end, the one in Jabba's palace in Episode 3.
Episode 3 or Episode 6?
Episode 6, I'm sorry. Episode 6. The added song in Jabba's palace where the guy breaks the fifth wall and like looks into the camera and starts like singing and dancing and shit. To me, that's the worst addition in any of the movies. Worse than Jabba in Episode 4. Like it's that song added in Return of the Jedi is horrible. Is fucking horrible.
The worst thing in any of the movies.
Yeah, Bill Burr episode was amazing, Mandrell.
Episode 8 when they go in the casino. That was the whatever. I don't want to talk about those.
I know. Why are we going longer to talk about this?
Why am I talking about Episode 8? Like, dear God.
How did this turn?
No one even wanted to listen to us talk about The Sopranos. Now I'm talking about Episode 8. Like,
honestly, Matt, in fairness, I think the average person would probably rather hear us, even if they disagree with us 100%, would probably rather hear us talk about Star Wars than The Sopranos.
Probably.
It would get if this video was titled Star Wars Rants by two out of touch losers, like we would get more views than the Sopranos video.
I think you're probably correct. Yes.
100%. No, Phil, the worst thing was the Solo movie. I didn't really like that either, except for I enjoyed Donald Glover's Lando performance, but other than that, I thought that movie was kind of shite as well. I think probably the best of the Disney movies is probably Rogue One, and yeah, I guess that's probably the best one. But even that I found boring a lot of the times, except for that Vader scene I liked. But anyways, so everyone, if you haven't already and you enjoyed this discussion, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, share it with a friend, all that fun shit.
And you guys, everyone in the chat, you owe me because I got Phil back into doing podcasts again. I
don't know if they owe me. They owe you. Maybe they're annoyed. They're like, Jesus, Phil. Like, well, Jesus, Matt. Like, can you get this guy off the air again? But yeah, no, Matt.
Do what I can.
Matt and thankful for keeping me doing this because this is the only thing I'm doing right now. But I'll be doing a lot more things on myself. I definitely have to thank Matt and Tony specifically for keeping me doing this right now. Oh, X Swordstone says, I agree. Whoever thought that song was a good idea should be sent to the casino planet and mate with Rose.
Again, it's George Lucas misunderstanding why people liked his fucking movies. He thinks they wanted that. He thinks that they wanted that, and his shitty CGI of like Jawas dangling off a giant,
Matt, I think we do need to do a Star Wars bitch session, and I need to introduce you to Red Letter Media's content of Star Wars reviews, because I think you would definitely enjoy listening to some Mr. Plinkett reviews of the sequel trilogy and the prequel trilogy for that matter, and just some Nerd Crew stuff too. But anyways, yeah, back in action. Thank you so much. Gotta get Dworkin on here too at some point in time. Well, I'm announcing this now out of the blue, but since we can't necessarily do a game night, let's do like a game night podcast where we play some stupid word game, like a elimination, Cards Against Humanity, some fucking bullshit game that we can play. I'll talk to you guys about it off air, but try to get us, Joe, Matt.
We could in
Ilya.
theory play Mario Kart online too. Like,
we could do a streaming, but then everyone would have to have the same systems. It would be easier if we could just all connect on a Zoom call and play some sort of card game, or Devin could lead us on a D&D game or something.
Okay, I'm in.
But yeah, we'll talk about that. We'll connect in the group, but maybe do something over this winter while we're all just hanging out and
so to waiting for that vaccine. Just
waiting for all that stuff. Solo made me mad. It made me mad. The song was okay. I don't know why I just started talking like well, is this a dagger I see before me?
Well, it's good. It's an accent that you did that didn't sound Jamaican, at least.
It will after a while, Matt. Don't give it time. Thank you so much. And yes, Justin, get in touch. We'll figure something out. Everybody, thanks so much for joining me. I'll be back sooner rather than later. If I don't talk to you before, have a happy Christmas. And that was a horrible accent. That almost sounded Jamaican again, too. I can't quite do it. But, and Worf. Yes, Worf says goodbye to you, Tim. And thank you so much.
We have one episode left of season 2. Phil and I have been doing season 2 for 4 years.
I think it's been like, it will be about 4 years for season 2.
It's 3 years since we did it, and we have one episode left.
In season 1, we did pretty quickly. And what's bad about season 2 is a bunch of season 2 we did in chunks of episodes too. It took us so long to do, as we did like 2 or 3 episodes at once. Oh, hi, Lotus. Do you hear Uncle Matt? Oh, John Wayne. Thank you, Merrill. I couldn't figure out whose accent I was doing. I was doing a horrible John Wayne accent.
You were doing a really bad John Wayne. That's what it was.
That's what it was. Yo, I'm John.
Hey, cowboy. I can't even do it.
Could you do it Jamaican? Is this a dagger I see before me, man? Yeah, man. Give me some.
I'm old school, Janice. That's all I got.
My
wife's laughing at me in the other room because I walk around the house yelling I'm old school Janice to her all the time.
Jen's like, stop bothering Matt. Get him off this street.
Thank you. I'm Team Matt too, so.
Yeah, Matt likes himself too. He does.
I do.
And so do his dogs. Everyone, love you guys. We'll talk to you next week. Same bad time, same bad channel. Later.